Hey bloggers, it's Maya. So today we're going to learn about the conical tower and circular wall of Great Zimbabwe and also the Chavin de Huantar. So first we're going to talk about the conical tower and circular wall of Great Zimbabwe. They're from southeastern Zimbabwe from 1000 to 1400 CE. They are created from coarse granite blocks by the Shona people. The conical tower most directly resembles a grain bin, which was a symbol of power within the tribe. It shows the royal authority and the relationship between the ruler and his people, because he was the one who distributed the grain to the needy, the special guests, and the people during droughts. It also symbolizes gender roles, because the platform that it was built on resembles a chikuva, which is where women would generally display their work and also their role within the society. The conical tower also holds religious significance, because the chikuva also was often the center of ancestral prayers and worship. The tower itself further proves that the city of Great Zimbabwe served as a royal palace for the monarch. The wall itself stands up to 32 feet high in some places and was constructed entirely without mortar, which we'll talk about a little later. Contrary to popular beliefs, these walls did not serve as a defense mechanism. They do not offer complete enclosure in any area, and there is no evidence of any military features. The town itself served as a center of an extensive trade network that transported gold, ivory, and skins in exchange for porcelain, beads, and other items. The main enclosure, or Imba Huru, was likely the ruler's palace because it was the largest area, with surrounding walls enclosing houses belonging to the royal court. The wall itself was merely a symbol of the great power and wealth of the city due to their successes in trading. At the height of the empire, the trade extended as far as China, Persia, and Portugal up until the mid-15th century. The stones themselves served to represent the city's artistic achievements, as each one was individually dressed, showing off the skill of the masons. The wall is battered so that the top of it leans inward, allowing it to stand completely without mortar. The builders sought their inspiration from the movement and the curvature in the natural landscape around them. This shows the deep connection that the ruler had to his land and their ancestors. At the height of the empire, Great Zimbabwe was home to over 18,000 people, although most of them lived outside of the enclosure. The enclosure itself contained not only houses, but an open court on the hill complex. This was reserved for special gatherings, such as when important people visited, when royalty got married. There was no marketplace or urban street life inside the enclosure or even outside. The town itself had no mathematical significance because there were no street avenues, axes, or vistas. The town was asymmetric, although it can be divided into three main parts. The great enclosure housed the royal palace and the ruler's court. The valley ruins were small enclosures outside of the larger one, and the hill complex, which contained the courtyard. The Shona peoples had a valued connection to the land, particularly the hills, which is why the ceremonies were often held here. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the Chavin de Huantar. The Chavin de Huantar was a ceremonial center of the Chavin peoples from the northern highlands in Peru. It is a pilgrimage site created in the first millennium. The temple itself is a U-shaped structure built of stone which opens east towards the sunrise in the forest. The temple buildings contain multiple passages and small rooms that are ventilated by shafts. The Chavin, built entirely from white granite, stretches from floor to ceiling, suggesting its role of connecting the underworld, the earth, and the heavens above. It gazes upward with its teeth bared and its fangs sticking out. The structure wears an elaborate headdress that depicts feline-like creatures, fanged, each one coming out of the mouth above it. The belt contains many snakes or serpents, which also make up the deity's hair and whiskers as well as his staff. This clearly was inspired by an Andean religion, because when turned upside down, the god changes from one face to two. This suggests the deity's power to change right in front of mortals. The statue serves to represent the change and rituals of transformation that the temple was known for. These rituals are still present in South American culture today. Chavin ideology was a blend of coastal and jungle beliefs, which created this exotic art style. The style spread throughout the Andes as a result of trade. The animals represented within Chavin de Huantar are ones typically found in one of the two areas. This, as well as the combination of man and animal beast, is a common characteristic of Chavin art. This temple served as a site for pilgrimage due to the room above allowing priests' voices to be heard in the land zone chamber below. The site was home to many open courts and small secluded rooms. These rooms held carved images and small figures and statues of guardians, due to their purpose of holding rituals specific to each deity. Chavin artwork usually represents supernatural beings as they contain no counterparts derived entirely from nature. It also uses rhythmic and symmetric repeated natural forms to create abstract images. In rituals, the Chavin often used hallucinogens, allowing them to perform acts of transformation. These hallucinogens were likely responsible for the supernatural focus of their artwork. The temple is positioned by a western axis from the winter solstice, so that it faces east toward the sunrise. From inside the temple opening, the sun would rise each morning over the sacred Mount Huantar. Visitors would enter the temple from the west, where they were greeted by a large wall, decorated with massive stone heads. These suggest the transformation of a shaman from human face to semi-animal to full animal during the passage to the world of spirits. After passing the massive stone heads, visitors ventured down to the river to the east, then back up the hill to the circular plaza. Rituals were performed on the platform and were viewed from down below.